Hello there, and welcome to another episode of Spotlight on Stage. I'm Michelle Eagleton, the arts and culture correspondent at I Love Manchester, and this is where we shine a spotlight on theatres across our fair city. Yes, if you love theatre, you're in the right place. I'm here every Monday bringing you interviews with people in front of the stage and behind the scenes. And this week I have been catching up with an absolute cracker. We've also got a What's On guide to what's on at the theatres this week and some news from the theatre world. But as I say in show business, let's crack on with the show. And to kick it off, I am starting with that interview. I caught up with a wonderful guy. Now, you might know him from The X Factor, Dancing on Ice, I'm a Celebrity, Celebrity SAS, and now he is a star of the theatre world, and he's about to make his leading role debut in Rita, Sue and Bob 2. Now, who am I talking about? Well, the wonderful Jake Quickenden. Rita, Sue and Bob 2 starts its tour tomorrow night, opening at St Helens Royal, and I got the lowdown.
I was born a year after the film, but I'm obviously working in kind of theatre and shows. Like, I'd heard of the show. I'd never seen the film until I got the self-tape through to read. So I was like, okay. So I had the first scene I had to do for a self-tape, and it was 11 minutes my self-tape. So I had to learn 11 minutes of dialogue, and I was like, right, I'm going to watch the film just to kind of give me a heads up on what this is about. And I was like, holy hell, like this is a bit deep. And obviously it's a comedy, but it is a bit, Bob is not a nice person. His character's not a nice character to play. He's a great character to play in the fact that you can kind of get your teeth into him, and he's a bit dark and horrible. But it's not something that I kind of like. I said to Jess yesterday when we was in rehearsals, and I had to shout in her face, and I was like, I don't like doing that. And she was like, well, it's good, so keep doing it, but like, it don't mean it's me. Do you know what I mean? And I kind of had to kind of get out my own head with playing Bob, because I'm like, he couldn't be further away from me. But I guess that's a good thing, because it means I can get really into the character and know that that's who he is. But as a play and as a film, it's such, like you said, it's a classic, and it's got such a strong following still. And I guess the beauty with theatre is you can play these horrible people without any judgment, because it is a play. And I think Andrea Dunbar actually wrote it about her estate and things that were going on at that time. And unfortunately, these things still go on today. So as well as being a comedy and a bit gritty, like, it touches on things that we should really talk more about and make sure they're not happening.
It is. It's social comment more than anything, isn't it? You know,
Yeah.
you've got these two working class girls that are at school, and then they meet Bob, and then they start this relationship, and then, but it's very much, there are serious issues within it, and it's very clever the way that humor comes in to try and diffuse it, and sometimes also diffuse Bob. But I take my hat off to you, because that must have been challenging to take this role on, because we see you in a totally different light, because you are so far removed. But if you want to be taken seriously in acting, that's what it's all about, right?
Well, I was just really kind of grateful to be offered the role, and also it's my first lead. Like, I played a lot of great roles on tours and in musicals and stuff like that. But as far as a lead role, this is my first one. So I was just really kind of humbled that I'd been offered a lead role, because I just think, like, as an actor, I want to keep taking these stepping stones and going further and further and getting better and better. And I'm working with amazing people and learning all the time. So I was like, I really want this lead role, and I'm kind of glad that it's a lot different to the things I played before, because I can show a few other sides. Like, I've played a lot of comedy roles, so I know I can do the comedy side of stuff. But when it gets a bit dark and when it gets a bit angry, and I get to play like this villain kind of character, even though I think the way Andrea writes it, there's still no judgment on Bob, which is crazy, really, because he's just an awful man. But I get to play this character that is really interesting. not somebody I'd be friends with, not somebody I'd ever want to really talk to. But as a character, it's an interesting character to play. And yeah, I'm always really just happy to get work and to keep growing as an actor. So when I got the role, I was buzzing, and then I've done my research, and we're in rehearsals now, and it couldn't be going better actually. As a show, it is hilariously funny, like hilariously funny. Everyone in that room is brilliant. But again, like you said, it touches on a lot of things that we really need to be talking about and be careful about with. And it touches a lot on friendship as well. Like the friendship between Sue and Rita is really quite nice, but also it shows the vulnerability of people. And if they get somebody who's a bit of a wrong one in their life, how easily things can change. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think you're going to get new audiences and old audiences coming to this. You'll get the ones who knew the film, who probably know all the lines
Yeah,
as well,
yeah. A lot
you
of
know,
like,
because there are iconic lines in there. And then you'll get a whole new audience coming into this. But of course, it is set in the 80s. So you've got all that nostalgia going on. I believe there's some 80s music running through it. Obviously, the styles.
yeah, yeah. Well, I'm not allowed to get a skin fade anymore, so I've got to grow the hair out a little bit. And obviously, the style's all in the 80s, like you said. The music is brilliant. Like I always think it's quite important to have a good soundtrack, like songs playing throughout that people can go, "Oh, that takes me back to this time. Or that takes me back to that time." It's obviously it's an over 18s show, so there's not going to be any young kids in the audience watching, like when I'm doing Footloose and stuff like that. And yeah, and I think if somebody hasn't been to see it, they'll be kind of shocked, but they'll also, I think, leave going, "Wow, that was not only really funny as a comedy side of things, but that was really thought provoking as well."
Yeah, I think starting conversations, it probably will provoke that.
Hopefully, I think that's an important thing to do. Like when I look at soap stars playing actors that obviously they're playing a role that's just terrible, it always sparks a bit of a debate and it gets people talking. And I think that's what it's all about.
Absolutely. Now, you said you were in rehearsals, and we've talked about different things that you've done. You've done Footloose, Full Monty Tour. I honestly don't know how you're upright. And I mean, I know you sat down, but you must be shattered. And, another baby, Kit,
Yeah.
congratulations.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I'm really tired. But look, let's be honest, with the baby, my wife is the superhero. She does everything. She's holding down the fort, and that allows me to be able to come away and work, which is amazing as well. I get to go home today for a day. So I've got Saturday at home with them. So as soon as we've finished here, I'm going to be jumping in my car so I can get home because I do really miss them. But there's a lot of people that work away, and sometimes it's just what you've got to do. Do you know what I mean? Like Sophie understands that it's my work, I'm very privileged to do something I enjoy. I'm not stuck in a job that I don't like. Do you know what I mean? So I get to do that, and then when this is finished, we'll get to go on a nice holiday and spend some time together. And yeah, and it's hard because Leo's at an age, he's 4, and he rings me about 40 times a day because he just misses me, and he's, "When are you coming back? When are you coming back?" And that makes it a bit harder, but I'm just, hopefully I just want to show the kids that if you want something, you got to work for it in life, and hopefully that comes across to them as well a little bit.
You really do. And more than anything, it just feels that you appreciate every opportunity that you've got along the way. And I think, that shows.
I definitely do, and I think like I say, I'm very lucky to be where I am, and it's been a bit of hard work as well. I'm not work shy, definitely not. I used to be, but I'm not anymore, and I love working. And you never know how long this is going to last, and you never know how long you're going to be on the planet. Do you know what I mean? So you've just got to take risks and do the things you enjoy, and hopefully it'll keep getting me further and further, and I can just look. It's all about giving the family that I've got the life that I want them to have, and hopefully I can do that with doing these shows and getting bigger and better.
Absolutely. And I think you diversify yourself. I think that's what is so great about you, because you started off and we knew you as a singer, and then we knew you from reality shows
Yeah,
and kind of that presenting kind of mode, and
yeah,
then the acting, and then the podcast.
yeah.
I mean,
Oh,
you're
yeah.
currently doing a podcast on Tapped, aren't you, with Spence?
When Spencer approached me about the podcast and kind of the whole premise behind the podcast, and it's about untapping your mind and becoming a better version of yourself, because I've not always been like I said, I used to be a bit lazy. I used to wait for things to come to me rather than going and getting it myself. And I think as I've got older, especially since becoming a dad, I know that we're capable of so much more. So when Spencer approached me and was like, "Do you want to do this podcast?" I was like, "Absolutely, mate. Like, I'm well game." I was like, "I'm going to be busy and I'm going to be back and forth, but like I said, I'd rather be busy than doing nothing." So yeah, the podcast, the shows, the reality, you just got to take your chances.
Yeah, no. And do you think acting is your groove then? Is that the main passion right now? And is that where you're wanting to go?
I love the podcast. I love the podcast, and it's something that will hopefully go on for years and years and years now. But as a passion and as a job that I'd love to do for the rest of my life, the acting's kind of took over everything else. I've really found something that I enjoy, and like I said, you're lucky when you find something that you like doing and you're getting paid for it. Um, and yeah, I just took a chance about 8 years ago on my first musical, and I went for an audition when I didn't think I'd get it, and I got it. And then since then, I've done seven tours, not 5 tours, and then 8 pantos and a Hollyoaks stint. And yeah, it's only getting better and better. So hopefully the next step is maybe a soap, and then after that maybe a film, and then we'll see what happens.
I think it's definitely going to happen. I really, really do. I think you put your mind on it, and you will absolutely go for it. I am really looking forward to seeing you in this lead role. In fact, because we're here in Manchester, we actually get quite a few stabs at seeing you. So if we miss you at St Helens, where you open, we
Yeah,
could probably just hot foot it to Southport. We
yeah.
could go to Stockport.
Or
We could go to Liverpool. So we
Liverpool.
we get a lot of Jake.
Yeah, there's a lot of Jake. So I hope I get to see a few faces more than once because they've enjoyed it so much. But yeah, it's nice doing a kind of northern play. Even though I live in the south now, I get to come back where my roots are, and I love the north. I love the people in the north, and I'm just excited for the show to go on the road and people hopefully really enjoy it.
Yeah, well, we love you in the North, and we know that you are definitely not Bob, all right? You're just a very good actor.
Thanks.
He's going to be great in that role. And if you want to catch Jake in action, then all you need to do is head to our website, ilovemanchester.com/theatre. You can book tickets there and you can find out more information on lots of different shows. Now, talking about different shows, what is on this week at theatres across Greater Manchester? Well, let's take a look. Over at the Opera House, we've got a bit of Dolly for you in Here You Come Again. It's a brand new musical comedy, and you've guessed it, containing Dolly Parton's biggest hits like Jolene, 9 to 5, Islands in the Stream, and I Will Always Love You. It's all about the story of a die-hard Dolly Parton fan whose fantasy version of that icon gets him through trying times. So, with her wit, humour, and charm, Dolly teaches him a whole lot about life. Now, it has been so successful in the US and in London. It is here now in Manchester. It opens tomorrow night and it runs until Saturday, the 8th of February. Well, just down the road at the Palace Theatre, we've got another icon taking to the stage, a Strictly Come Dancing one, no less. Johannes is starring in Kinky Boots, which is based on a true story and a hit movie. This is a brand new production, and it is a really fantastic production as well. It's got some great songs, and it's all about a shoe factory that is failing, and Charlie Price is the guy behind it. He has inherited his family's business. He's got a relationship on the rocks. That is, though, until someone comes into his life to change all of that. Lola, a drag queen, aka Johannes, whose sparkle and unsteady heels might just hold the answer to saving the struggling business. Now, Johannes isn't performing in the midweek matinees on Wednesday this week and Thursday, but you can catch him tomorrow night and the rest of the performances that run through to Saturday, the 8th of Feb. I think this is going to be fabulous, as Craig Revel Horwood would say. Now, if drama's more your bag, then head over to the Royal Exchange, where you have got two short plays by Carol Churchill in one evening of theatre. Yes, Escaped Alone and What If Only. They are full of drama, laughter, and are guaranteed to make you start conversations afterwards. If you want to find out a little bit more, I interviewed Lamin Toure, who stars in one of those plays a little bit earlier on this year, and you can just scroll back on our Facebook page and look at that interview. Now, it opens this from Friday, the 7th of February, and it runs for a month all the way until the 8th of March. Any fans of Jaws out there? Well, if you are, you might want to head to Lowry this week to see The Shark is Broken. Now, it opens tomorrow, the 4th of February, runs until Saturday, the 8th of February, and it's all about behind the scenes of that first Hollywood blockbuster. And believe it or not, that was filmed in 1974, and this play is co-written by the son of one of the actors who starred in that film, theatre veteran Robert Shaw. Ian Shaw takes on the role of his father, and he is joined by two other actors taking on the role of young Hollywood hotshots Richard Dreyfuss and Roy Scheider. It's 95 minutes straight through, and you will see them crammed into a too small bow, entirely at the mercy of foul weather and a faulty mechanical co star. It was a smash hit in the West End and on Broadway. It's been described as hilariously brilliant and pure genius. And get this, there is a Jaws screening package available for after the show where you can watch the film and also have a drink and have a snack. I think that is pure brilliance. And talking of brilliance, I love a bit of Willie Russell, and one of his classics, Shirley Valentine, opens at the Octagon in Bolton this week. It opens on Friday and it runs until the 8th of March. You'll be transported to sunny Greece with a bit of northern comedy. Mina Anwar is back in the title role of this one-woman comedy following her acclaimed performance in Bolton Octagon's 2020 production. And once again, Mina resets the play to Lancashire. She is, of course, housewife Shirley, stuck in a rut and frustrated now the kids have flown the nest. Whilst making egg and chips for her husband, she can't help but wonder what has happened to her life. So off she pops to Greece. Go and catch that one if you can. It is, of course, from the writer of Blood Brothers, Educating Rita. And you might even have seen the Oscar nominated film starring Pauline Collins and Tom Conte. It's definitely a classic. And talking of the Octagon, they have launched a brand new South Asian arts program this month, and there's so much to enjoy. There's going to be a series of workshops, activities, events, play readings, and research and development projects right across the year. And it is kicking off this week. We've got an embroidery workshop on Thursday, the 5th of February, discovering the ancient Indian technique of mirror work. And if you're free on Saturday, the 8th of February, you can learn how to play the popular Indian percussion instrument along to the tabla drumming workshop. And also, a bit of Bollywood comes to Bolton. The Bollywood Dance Workshop on the 15th of February sounds so much fun. You can learn how to dance like the film stars and see a selection of moves from the iconic and traditional Indian dance form. Now, if you want to find out more about it, all you need to do to book yourself on those sessions is go to the octagonbolton.co.uk. You can find out all the information right there. Well, that sounds absolutely fantastic. Hopefully, I will see you at one of those taster sessions. And in the meantime, if you want to find more about theatre news and shows and book your tickets for them, all you need to do is head to our website, ilovemanchester.com theatre. And of course, I will be back here with more news and interviews next week. So don't forget to join me. In the meantime, do spread the word. Tell your friends, tell your family, give us a follow on the Facebook page. Have a look at some of the past interviews, and we would love it if you would leave us a comment. Have a great week, and I will see you next Monday.